Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Who Do You Like Here podcast. Joey C-Note. With me, as always, is the kid. Big day. Going into Gulfstream. It's week 2, doing the Gulfstream Championship meet. We're going to be handicapping the late pick 5. Going to go over some news that just kind of broke that I saw this morning that the kid and I were just talking about prior to coming on. Chat a little bit about that. Kid, how you doing today on this another second Saturday morning doing the podcast?
A lot better than last weekend. I've been up for 2 hours. So, yeah, I've been up for 2 hours. I'm not as groggy. Mind is working a little bit faster today. So,
yeah, you have a little faster response time than waking up and going right into the podcast last week.
Yeah, exactly.
So breaking news. I don't know if it's breaking news or not, but I saw something was posted on the Pollock report here. Put it on our X handle. There's a possibility that Gulfstream Park closes in 2028 due to the agreement, non-agreement, or what's going on with the casino and the Horsemen Association. So kind of really didn't read the whole thing of the article, but it is posted out there. It would suck if we lose another track in the next 3 years.
I don't think it'll happen, but if it does happen, it would be a major blow to the industry as a whole. I mean, Gulfstream Park is the biggest meet. Most people look forward to this meet every year, especially during the winter when everybody's, kind of hunkered down, football's over, kind of that lull period. Everybody's watching Gulfstream. Yeah. So I don't think it'll happen. I think this is probably just maybe it will. I don't really know too much about it, but if it's just something to do with the casino and moving the casino, I think they'll figure it out because this would be a major blow to horse racing. So,
well, it's going in the trend as it was for some of these standardbred tracks that have been closing down, and some of these even some of the thoroughbred tracks that have closed down. With these casinos that open up and the agreements that are put in place, from what I read, I guess they're looking to open up a secondary casino at the same kind of where the Pegasus statue is at Gulfstream Park, right by Highway 1. And I think that whole conversation of expanding out the casino portion of it and how that affects with the horsemen and their agreement that they have with coupling, decoupling, is how it would affect possibly for what they kick. They do kick over a portion from the slots over to the purses that go towards the track. So they're able to run as long as the casino's able to run as long as the track is running, and then decoupling would separate that. So a lot more details to get into, but without reading the full article and going more, you can go to the website or you can go on our X page and read more about it. But it's almost a year since we were there.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking the same thing. And it's if it does happen, it's like, do you just give up at this point? Is that what you're doing? Is just giving up and not caring about the industry anymore? Like, it seems like like this is a major one. This is like if you're playing War and or what is that game where you conquer all the territories? Risk. If you're playing Risk, this is one of the territories you don't want to lose. This is a key territory you don't want to lose. So if you lose this territory, you've only got a couple left that are going to keep you in the game, and it's not many, and it doesn't look good from there. So it's like it's too big of a track to lose. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does happen, that's a telltale sign of, I think, what's to come in the near future of horse racing. So
that could be the big domino. Yeah. If that were to be the case,
pretty soon it's going to come down. It's going to come down to just Kentucky Derby every year. But I mean, you're going to have 2 tracks.
They're come down to Kentucky and New York racing, and California racing, and that's it. Yeah. So these other, it would be a huge blow. I just don't want to see it happen. Gulfstream's a wonderful track. It's a fun place to go to. Have a great time when you're there. Yeah. It's a good venue. It's very open. I think it's
took all my money.
Yeah, it's very visitor friendly. If you want to almost put it almost in the realm of like a Saratoga, as you said, with the interaction that you could have with the jockeys and how accessible that everything is. So it would suck to close it down. It would just leave Tampa open, and once one domino falls, who knows where it goes from there. So it's just not a good sign. Let's hope for better.
Also, on a softer note too, obviously the fires in California, which are horrible. If anybody's listening from California, our prayers are with you guys, and hopefully it don't spread too far. I saw a couple pictures too from Santa Anita, and you can see the flames in the background. It's kind of crazy. Hopefully they get those hopefully they get them under control very soon. But if you live in California, I hope everything's okay.
Yeah, our thoughts to everybody out there in general, especially and those obviously close to us in the sport. Just devastating.
Mm,
Um, I saw somebody had reached out looking for horse trailers to move some horses. So, because the fires were getting close.
yeah,
Scary stuff that we don't, in the Midwest
yeah,
or East Coast, you really don't consider, or even it's not even in your realm of things that you have to like
yeah.
deal with. We deal with other things that are more weather
I mean,
orientated.
Texas, I think, got more snow than we did this year so far. So, like
Yeah,
Alabama and yeah,
yeah, Tennessee and these southern states are really
yeah,
also getting hit with these storms that they're really not used to or prepared for. So it's been mild.
yeah,
It's
been
just
very
cold.
mild. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's
other than not having a track, that's worth going to within driving distance, I'd say the Midwest is pretty good.
yeah,
So, yeah,
not too bad. Boring as shit, but got to find things to do. That's why we watch horse racing on TV, so we can go to any track anytime we want. This week we're going to go back to Gulfstream Park. As I said, it's going to be almost a year since we were down there last. Kind of seeing some of the pictures come through from our last visit. Really, really good time. Just time flies. Doesn't seem like it was a year ago.
no, a lot
It
has
really
happened
does.
within that year.
Yeah, a lot has happened. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I was just thinking they need to make a VR goggles, and they can sell subscriptions to the tracks where you can just put the
mm,
VR goggles on. You can be right in the stands, or you can be right on the apron or whatever, and watch the races from there.
yeah,
Or jockey cam if they ever get their stuff together, where they just have cameras on every jockey. You could ride with the jockeys. That would be sick. That would be cool.
yeah,
A new
yeah. Well,
a new horse racing
why add
video
to the
game would be
sport?
great. Yeah.
Why add to the sport? They don't want to invest in
Well, if
anything.
you're getting rid of
There's a
tracks,
lot of
I mean,
good
I
things.
guess there's yeah. But you heard it here first. If that ever comes out.
There's a lot of good ideas that I think would definitely bring in your average people maybe that aren't into the horse race. We've talked about this a million times on what you could do to draw people in, but yet no one's doing anything to do that or to
Yeah.
initiate it. You know,
Yeah.
um, I did see obviously on our X handle we also posted. We talked about this before, like all the opportunities that the jockeys have going into today, which would have to be updated. Obviously, that was posted I think on Tuesday. But like how many wins a jockey could have, putting out some odds to like if you want to go to the casino or you go to online booking, you can say like I'm around say Brown 2 touchdowns in a game, and you get odds for it. Like what's the odds for Tyler getting two wins, or or maybe a Dylan Davis, or an Irad today who's in Tampa. Like it's just why aren't those kind of bets readily available? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about that before. I think it's like it would add another dimension to horse
Yeah.
racing. Like, but I think I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. I
It's
mean,
the same thing you get for players out there playing
yeah,
sports, basketball especially, because if you want to talk about the individuality, a receiver's only good if the quarterback throws it to him. So if the
yeah,
quarterback doesn't throw it to him, he's kind of screwed. I get that. But
yeah,
basketball, you've got players that your starting five all get the same opportunity to score and get rebounds and
yeah.
things
The
of
one
that
thing
nature.
that's crazy though, or one thing that stinks is that not stinks, but like makes it difficult is that like Saez could be on a great horse, or let's say you're betting this way, and you've got Flightline running, so it's like are the odds just going to be minus 1,000 for 2 wins because you know
Because he has like a
Flavian was
sure,
gonna you're gonna
yeah.
win that one for sure, and then you're gonna win another one right after at
I
some
think
point
that
on a nine
definitely
card
has to go. You
or nine
definitely have to
race
take that
card.
into consideration.
Yeah,
If I got a jockey that has 5 mounts and they're all 20-1, and
yeah,
I've got a jockey that has 2 mounts and he's got the odds-on favorite, probably going to pay out less for the jockey with the 2 mounts
yeah.
only get 2 wins than it would two for a jockey that has 5 mounts on long shots that don't look to hit the
But
board.
then are the odds better of just betting that horse to win or that like the jockey to win these
Yeah,
races? Is it better just to bet the horses or the jockey to win, or is it better to bet the 2 wins? You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
In my
So I
mind,
think there would be a
you
lot of
already have the
different things to
option.
consider.
You already had the option to bet that horse with that jockey to win in a multitude of different softwares that you could use, Twin Spires or First Bet or whatever you wanted to. So there's options to already do that. There's no options to do the other edition. So you could go into that side. I think the other side that we're talking about with the jockey mounts would be more like a parlay kind of concept, like sports
Yeah.
betting concept. Since that's the big thing with all these younger gamblers are all with the sports betting and the prop bets for football and all these other sports. Like have that for horse racing as well. It just gives you another avenue of something that I like in a sport that I don't know that could attract somebody into, or maybe only knows a little bit. Maybe that draws them in. I don't know.
At the track would be better. Like, like kind of like they do for the Super Bowl, like what color silks or what main colored silks is going to have the most wins today? Is the main color
Yeah.
blue and blue has 3 wins or whatever? Prop bet there. Over under an inquiry at some point during the card, or over under, track record, or something like that,
Yeah. So total
think,
times of all 10 races,
yeah,
plus or minus. Yeah.
how many scratches, something stupid. But I think that would be more fun, like especially during the Derby. I think that would be cool because they just open up to a wide range of different things that you can bet other than just the horses, obviously.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool. But
I think adding options only adds more interest to the sport. If you limit it to just handicapping, then you're limiting only people who actually can handicap or want to handicap. You want those bettors that just like to go to a track, which there are a lot of people that just like to go to a track, pick a number or see a horse, bet on it, or color silks and be like, I want the orange and blue silks or whatever it is that calls them to bet on it. So interesting.
I would personally, if they put out like an average, like what they think like a pay average would be for the day. So let's say the average winner throughout the entire day with the bombs and the favorites that came in was, let's say, $15, right? If they did an over under on like $15, if you think the average payout's going to be higher or lower, that'd be a kind of a cool
on the win.
On the average win payout,
the average win payout.
Yeah.
So it's all chalky. It's the under. If it's
exactly. If you think it's going to be bombs, that'd be cool.
Well, that's a wager you would want to watch like the whole entire day's card.
Yeah, you'd watch the entire
and be like,
card.
okay, I need a 8-to-1 shot. It's got to pay $18 or more for me to cash this bet. Like it's just,
or if you could pick jockeys, like you could pick like 3 jockeys, a 3-jockey parlay where it's like I think Flavian, Saez, and so, some off-name jockey are going to have 8 wins for the day. Couple them together that way or something. There's definitely some room to be had there for the average bettor, I think. But
there's options that you could create, and people like playing the prop bets. I'm just saying, like
over under on
it doesn't matter.
15-1 winning the race.
Yeah, there's people with a bigger problem than I have that like to just see this crazy. You go to any casino and you see these bets on the craps table.
Yeah,
some of the bets that these guys make on a craps table with astronomical odds that they just highly unlikely, but it's the draw. It's the
but
attraction.
I mean, if you think about it too, right? Like, so obviously football is crazy. Everybody loves football. Everybody bets football. But then when it comes to the Super Bowl, it's probably their biggest betting day of the year because there are so many prop bets. You can bet on the coin flip. You can bet on the national anthem. You could bet on how long you think the My Kentucky Home is going to be. Like all these prop bets, the over under and time on My Kentucky Home. Like you could literally do all these different bets and amplify how much money the industry gets, and then put that money wherever else you need to put it. And solidify.
Who's going to drive? Who drives that? Who has to drive that? Create an app or add it to an app? Like, I mean, they could add it to
commissioner of horse racing, right, or something like that, or
Rapoli.
Yeah.
Well, let's get him on and ask him if he can start adding some prop bets to get some of these horse betting softwares to allow us to start betting prop bets for.
It would change the game, that's for sure.
Instead of straight par mutual. Yeah. Good conversation. Lots to cover here. We got 5 races to cover at Gulfstream. We want to make this one fairly decent card in general. It starts with a couple with a maiden race, but it ends out with I believe, is it bookends on the maiden race? I forget. We'll get into it, but I thought it was an interesting card for the late pick 5 at Gulfstream for today. We just went through the scratches, so we kind of pivoted and adjusted on a few things. Let's go ahead and start handicapping. We'll go right into the 7th race here, starting off the pick 5. It's a mile, it's a maiden race, $94,000, so $94,000 purse for maiden 3-year-olds. I texted you yesterday. I think I said I had like 2 locks of the day. This is my semi-lock. This is the one I probably like the most. That makes the most sense for me. Not my biggest lock of the day, but if I had to pick the second of the 5 races, this would be the second biggest. And it's a maiden race. I love the 9 Camp Hale, Brian Hernandez for Ian Wilkes. All these horses are getting Lasix for the first time, so it's not the big draw here. The big draw is the speed figures in 2 races at 6 furlongs. Now we're going a mile. I think the horse is looking for a little more distance. I think the extra 2 panels here doesn't hurt. The times that this horse has been running on the front end or near the front end has been against 21-2 and a 22-1, a 44.3 and a 45.1. And the horse is right there second both times with Brian Hernandez. The workouts coming in are fantastic on December 22nd, 5 furlongs and 59-2, and then a 5 furlongs and 58-3 on January 1st on New Year's Day. So the horse has got the highest in prime power, should be out there sitting in a stalking position, if not wheeling and taking the lead and running off. I don't know. I saw the horses that lost against previously, beaten favorite last time out. There's just so many things that are swinging this way for me that everything just points for a horse that's coming off a 90 and then a 93 speed figure against horses that are first-time starters here or, 59, high 60s. We have a couple that are 80 speed figures. It just looks the best of the field. So the 9 is my top pick. I will parlay it with the 1 Grande. This is Pletcher Velasquez with some decent works. I do like the 2 Wild Conqueror. That's Brad Cox and Luis Saez teaming up, and a horse with the dam that has 3 starters and 2 winners, including 1 stakes winner. So I do like that. That horse coming out of Authentic. And then I think the 6 also. Can't Stop Money. So Javier Castellano, Brian Lynch. 87 speed figure last time out. This will be its 4th time attempt to break the maiden. Stretching out a little bit, dropping down in class. 2 big wins. I always like the big drop down in class. I'd rather have the cutback in distance than the extension, but this horse looks like it's looking for more distance. So probably the 6 is my second choice of the 3 that I gave you. But 9 on top, 6, 1, 2.
Yeah, I have the 9 on the card, but my top choice is the 2, the Wild Conqueror. That's Luis Saez and Brad Cox. Brad Cox doesn't bring a lot of his horses up to Gulfstream Park. It's not very often that he's got, this much coming through Florida. He had a couple weekends ago, and now he's got one here today that I like a lot. I think the Authentic bloodline is very strong. Obviously, Into Mischief. They paid a pretty penny for this horse. I mean, we're looking at $875K. For a first-time starter who's shown some speed and some good gate works. And on November 8th, that 36 flat, and that was of last year, obviously. Very much capable of getting out and going. I like the inside post here in this race. I think it's been pretty profitable through the meet. You can fact check me on that. So I like the 2. I like the inside position. I like Saez on a first-time starter. I like Brad Cox bringing horses that typically he doesn't, and obviously the bloodline. So I'm going to take a swing here with the horse that hasn't run yet, and we don't know what it's going to do. So I'll have the 2 on top. I have your 9 underneath. I also like the 9 a lot. Camp Hale and Ian Wilkes. This horse has obviously shown some very, very good, running skills, and you can see a 90 and a 93 speed figure improving both starts. They took a step up and still just missed. Thought it maybe was a little bit of seconditis. That's why I didn't have it on top. First 2 starts right there, but just can't finish a race. The first start they should have won right there and just kind of gave up the lead a little bit. So just hard to get this horse to go, but I think the Lasix will help. If you ran a 93 speed figure without the Lasix, I think it's only going to make your speed figure go up here. I think they'll react fine. I think the distance, like you said, is definitely worth it for them. Especially if you look at that last trip, they were 6 1/4 out and then were able to pull down, and they lost by 2 3/4, but if you give them a little bit more distance, right, you give them 2 extra furlongs there, you might be looking at a different result. So I like the 9 a lot. With the scratch in mind, I did have the 8 originally. Obviously, the horse is scratched now, but I have the 10 as a backup. Bill Mott and Joel Rosario. Last time out, 65K maiden race. I thought it was interesting. They only lost by a length and 3/4. Sammy Camacho was aboard. When I was watching Gulfstream, and Sammy Camacho isn't running as well as I've seen him run in previous years. I don't know if I just caught him at a bad time. So I think you're getting a step up here with Joel. I think Joel's, ready to get back on the horse and go, have some success here at Gulfstream. But teaming up with Bill Mott, he's got his horses ready. I think this horse is going to improve with the distance. And, like I said, very competitive last time out, but you're taking a step up. And that speaks a little bit to what Bill Mott thinks that this horse is capable of as well. So, yeah, 2 with the 9 and 10 in this race.
Yeah, 10's interesting. 84 speed figure on debut. Should improve off of that, which puts it in contention in this race. And stretching out for the distance also helps out. And, I couldn't agree with you more. I think saying that, the conversation we had previously about Joel Rosario, but Rosario and Mott teaming up, maybe that connection is going to like rekindle a little bit and get some more opportunities here for Bill. But I think the horse makes a lot of sense as well underneath. I just couldn't take them all, but he did close into a 23.46, which is probably what you're looking at for the early fractions here. Maybe a touch faster here, possibly in the early going. But I don't know who's going to go at the 9, and it could be a slower fraction if nobody goes with. But anytime you're talking maiden races, especially with first-time starters, everybody wants to break well. So to me, it's going to speed up the race a little bit. Yeah. Right? You're expecting the pace to be a little faster than probably what would be expected in a winter race or a claiming race of against people who are horses that have already won. Let's go ahead and move on to the 8th race, second leg of the pick 5, mile and 16th. By the way, a lot of these, it's like the all route pick 5. It's like a mile, and then the next 4 are all mile and a 16th. So none of these are sprints. We're usually getting like 5 furlongs, 6 furlong sprints on turf, etc. For a lot of these pick 5s that we've been doing. This is all routes. This is all mile and a 16th. We're just changing surfaces. So this is the mile and 16th on the Tapeta in the all weather. It's claiming $10,000, purse of $25,000 for fillies and mares, 4 years old and upwards. Very tough race. This is probably a spread race if you're looking in your horizontals. I peel back what you think is probably the better options. I think that's the way you would want to break this down, but it's really hard to toss anybody off of the card here. I will probably take the 4, Go Big Green, Edgar Zayas for Kelly Breen. When we're talking about the Tapeta race of the last 3 times, same similar race, $10,000. Speed figures of 81 and 79, and then 71 last time out. Not the best showing last time out, but now you're getting Edgar Zayas, which is, again, it's probably a step up in jockey. Horses coming off the pace, probably a little, it looks position-wise like it's sitting 6th or 7th, but it's never more than 3-4 lengths, which is kind of where you want to be on the Tapeta. You want to just be just off and somewhat forwardly placing, but this horse doesn't also get the best breaks either, but always seems to kind of find a way to be there close late. I think the 2 is interesting, Spider Bell with Luis Saez. The last 2 speed figures, not really exciting, but we're dropping in class, we're stretching out, and it seems to like the synthetic on the 3 trips that you're seeing here. Maybe the turf is a better situation. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I like the 15,000 optional claiming races that it's ran in September and October at Woodbine, showing that the synthetic maybe is a good opportunity. And Martin Drexler, first off the claim, 25% win, 50% in the money. So I'd like to have the 2 on the ticket to some capacity. I will go. There's a couple that I got some head scratchers in here as well. I think the 9 is interesting. Bismaline with Tyler Gaffleone seems to like the surface change when it went back in September, late September. One on the Tapeta, second on the Tapeta, and then 10,000 claimers got claimed last time out as a beaten favorite. After the claim, 20% for Bobby DeBona and beaten favorite 31%. So I want the 9 on the ticket. And then I would probably go all the way to the outside and go to Cabernet, which is drawing in on this race, which I didn't think was going to make it, but due to the late scratches here that were posted today, this one makes probably the most sense to hit. Just getting claimed for Jose D'Angelo. The workouts are kind of pedestrian, but this horse never really is awake in the mornings. You really see a lot of its best work in the afternoons on the track. Good speed figures, likes to be in a stalking position. Probably the better of the options here for you with Cabernet on the 14th. So all around it, if I had to take one, I would like to possibly maybe have the 4 as the opportunity to go with, but it's whoever Zayas is on for me. If he's on the 4 or the 14, and I would have to actually look to see which mount he's actually going with. So give me a second here, because he can't ride both horses, obviously.
Be impressive. Good.
Maybe if he could, I would bet him on both. So we got David Egan on the 4, and Edward decided to take the 14. So I guess that does change up a little bit for me. I'll put the 14 on top with the 4 and the 2, and Tyler. I hate the scratches. The 9.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with the 9.
Okay,
I think 9 is my top choice here. Obviously, Tyler's been having a great meet so far. It's nice to see him get back into his winning ways and have the success that he's having. Obviously, he's got an uphill climb against Irad and the success he's having. But I like Bobby DeBona. I like him at Gulfstream Park. I like the horses that he puts out. I'm scratching the last race altogether. I just think obviously it was just not a good showing. I don't think they broke where they wanted to be. Too much traffic. Drayden Van Dyke was aboard. First time he was aboard. I think there was a lot of issues there. Some jockeys you don't really have to worry about if they had a mount or not. Sometimes it's nice if they do, but Tyler's a jockey that obviously has got the experience to, go where he needs to and can take direction well. And I think Bobby DeBona knows where he needs to put this horse, which I believe is on the front end. I think they need to be very close to the lead, if not setting the fractions. And if they do, I think they're going to have the success that they had in previous races. So I like what
Yeah.
I'm seeing there. Going from a 28K open company to a claiming 10K on the all weather, I think is definitely where they need to be here. So I like it. I think there's something there with that horse. I have the 7 as well. This is Raylu and Robert Falcone Jr. I think if you look at the last 2 races that this horse has run, they're running an open company. The speed figures aren't great, but they're very, very consistent in what they're doing. They broke out 4th by 4 lengths, and then we're closing into the lead. And then, the race prior, they faltered out a little bit, but the last race, they got it done, So I think they know what they need to do. Another one where they game plan correctly, and if they do what they need to do, I think this horse is going to be there down the stretch as well. Very good. I think Raylu, I like seeing him in Florida as well. I think that he's doing well, and it's nice putting himself into a position where there's more competition, and he's getting better as well. So I think this can be a race where you're going to see him trying really, really hard. And Robert Falcone, he's got really good stats. When he takes some time away, lets the horse rest and brings them back. So I like what I'm seeing there. I like the 7. I also have the 8 as a little bit of a, price I think you're going to get on this horse. Maybe, maybe not. Carlos David, again, another trainer that you're going to see at Gulfstream that has really good horses that he puts out. Has a lot of success. If they run something like they did last race, right, in the claiming 8K, I think just sitting there stalking, I think that's the winning trip. He got the job done last time out, first time aboard. I think there's going to be some connection there with the horse and the jockey here. I like that. I like the breeding. The first due breeding, I think, has got some really good statistics to back that up. They've got some successful horses. And Carlos David has claimed this horse before. So I think that also says something. When this horse is, if you're claiming a horse again, it obviously shows you that this horse is very much catching your eye in certain aspects. So I thought that was interesting. I like it as a price. Maybe not first, maybe second. Even hitting the board, I'd be happy with. Almost like a win play show, just as a flyer, maybe. But I had the 8 as well.
Okay. Both of those question marks on my form. I will say that your 7 Clouds of White horse used to put in a great race and then 2 clunkers, and it looks like now it's getting back into better form to where it put together 2 back-to-back really strong races last 2 times out. First time on synthetic, we'll see how that performs, but that's the only downgrade that I had on the horse. But one that I definitely I would hate to leave the 7 off, or the 8 for that matter. I know it's moving up in class, but I hate to leave either one of these off. It's a tough race.
I don't know if Robert Falcone, if he brings a lot of horses to the Gulfstream, I don't feel like I see a ton of his horses in Florida either. I don't know if he's moved his tack there.
He's got 45. This should be track statistic of 45, 13% win percentage.
Did he move his tack there from like Ellis or the horses that are kind of staying in the upper Midwest? Because I feel like
that or he expanded his barn out more.
Maybe. I don't remember seeing as many of his horses there. So
I don't remember him specifically, or talking about Gulfstream, but I know that early in the year there was a few trainers that expanded down to Oaklawn in the fairgrounds this year. Like Cassie's bringing more.
I feel like Oaklawn is where we saw his horses. Yeah,
in Oaklawn, where we see a lot more of it. So I don't know. Oaklawn also gets a lot more rainouts and muddy situations. So it's always something to take into consideration when you're bringing your horses down there, opening or having your tack down there. So Clouds of White is an interesting horse. Grandma's Pudding as well. This is a huge spread race for me. I couldn't really put a stamp on anything. The only thing that gave me the difference here is that the 14 I didn't think was going to get an opportunity. Zayas takes that mount instead, and it comes in off the also eligible. So that I'm just going to go on that as my nudging top point.
I think if any angle that I'm playing in this one that I think maybe takes a little bit more stake for me in this race is anybody that's got, some class relief or has ridden in a higher class in this one. The experience, right? You can have 20 races, but if they're all in, claiming races or,
it's 10,000 claiming though.
Yeah. So if you run an open company, Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. If you run an open company and you've got, some you maybe doesn't win the race, but you've run against better horses, I think that's going to be a big plus here. And especially if you run in bigger fields too, right? You're
Yeah.
not going to get crowded, you're not going to get scared, or you're not going to get boxed in. And if you got a good jockey aboard. So this is one that, like, if I'm looking at it, I'm more so just looking at the history, and I'm looking at what jockey they have as well, because I think that's going to play a big piece in this one.
I
But
couldn't agree more. It's wide open though.
it's wide
It's hard to
open, yeah.
nail it down to one. Wide open.
Experienced.
Should show. Let's go to the ninth race. Ninth race, a mile and 16th. Now we're going to go over to the turf. Optional claiming 75,000, condition person 96,000 for 3-year-olds and 3-year-olds which have never won 20,000 other than maiden claiming starter restricted, or which have never won 2 races or a claiming price of 75K. Don't know if anybody's even in for the 75,000 claiming price here. I'm not seeing anybody. No, nobody's in on the 75,000 claim. So really, it's all in the condition, non-winners. This is the race that this is my lock of the day. You're not going to tell me any differently. If it doesn't win, it doesn't win, but I can't see how it's not going to win. That's the 6 Dream On, Javier Castellano and Mark Casse. It's everything you want to see from a horse that's going to be riding the turf at this distance. Speed figures of 91, 95 last 2 times out. Ran in 2 grade 1s in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, was winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile race at Del Mar last year. And basically just didn't hold on at the end. But the fractions that were set there, modest at best, 22, 46, 110, and 134, and losing to some better horses than what we're going against here. Hasn't raced since, got a little layoff here, right? But I mean, it's Mark Casse. He's at 45 to 90 days away, 60% in the win, 44% hitting the board. First time on Lasix, which you're getting with Dream On now, is also a big plus. That's another 19% win percentage for Casse. These two team up, Javier and Casse, a couple times, 4 times as of recently, with 1 winner. And I mean, the speed figures alone, and then the workout that you got on December 19th at 5 furlongs and 101 and a nice breeze bullet workout that day. I mean, it just everything says this horse should win. And I just kept going back. Everything I like, everything about class, speed, position-wise, like near the front. I just can't get away from it. So 6 is my lock of the day. You're not going to change my mind on that. I do like the 2, Gene and Jude. 2 nice races, actually, for a lightly raced horse. Good speed figures on both of those for David Egan and Jack Sisterson. The rail's at 38 feet, right? So it's, to me now, it's back to the front running perspective. It's not coming off the pace, which I usually like at Gulfstream. So the 2 can go to the front as well. It's probably like a backup, so I don't want to leave it off. But if we're going with speed, I'm going to take the 9, the 2, the 6 with the 2, the 5, I think also has a shot here. So Leo Volant, Jorge Ruiz, first time gelding with an 81 speed figure last time out. And then the 9, last but not least, Scarecrow, Edgar Zayas, Jorge Delgado, another first time Lasix here, back-to-back 82 speed figures on running routes on the turf, like Gulfstream Park. Yeah, that's it. That's everything I got for you here. 6 going to be on top, 2, 5, and 9 underneath.
I think the 6 should be like 1 to 9 in this race. I mean, it should be the easiest win of the day, and I'm with you, and I'm scared saying that because we've seen it before. But this horse has shown back to back that it can run with Grade 1 company. Yeah, it's not winning the races, but it's only losing by 2 lengths. It's not losing by getting blown out where you can clearly see that it just was not the move they should have made. This horse can clearly hold its own with Grade 1 company, and I think if they go to the front, which they should, and I think Javier is going to be good enough to get them out there, it should be the easiest. It should be the easiest race of the day to call.
Agreed.
So I'm on the 6 as well. You're not going to talk me off it either. The only way this horse doesn't win is a shit trip by Javier, or the horse doesn't break. That's the only way. So I'm on the 6 as well. I'm not going to get too fancy here. I like the 5 underneath. I think, like you said, Jorge Ruiz with Grand Motion, they team up quite a bit. Last time out, they just lost, but they've been improving every single start. I expect them to take another step up here today. Makes a lot of sense there. I like the gelding and the Lasix angle. I think, 2 for 1 there with that one. And Grand Motion's got really good statistics with first-time Lasix. So hard to talk me off that one underneath. I think that one makes a lot of sense too. I think you're going to get a short price on that horse, just based off of everything we saw there. And then the 9, Scarecrow with Edgar Zayas and Jorge Delgado. Again, a horse that did not get it done last time out, went into a stakes race. didn't, perform the way they think they wanted to, but they also broke horribly, and that's one thing that I'm scared with this horse. Even though they can come from behind, I think when you're
Yeah.
coming against, lesser class or lesser, competition, that makes a lot of sense. But there are some horses in here that are obviously players, and yeah, I think this horse, if they break a little bit better, they sit mid pack. Can pick up some of the pieces late. So I like the 9 underneath. Again, I think this can be a race where you're not going to get a lot of money on here. You probably want to go very skimpy and higher dollar amount because I think that 6 is just too good. So could be very wrong. Could be very wrong. We've seen it before, but yeah, I'm not going to get too fancy here. 6 with the 5-9 in this race.
Yeah, again, first time Lasix for all these horses. So obviously, when they're 2 years old, you aren't able to take. You don't need it, I guess. It's a diuretic, but I mean, you're not on the medicine for Lasix for as a 2-year-old. When you become 3, then they can put you on Lasix. It's like you have to be 3 years old before they can actually start taking the medicine. So the only thing when I'm looking at that is these horses that are now getting Lasix for the first time, you're going to get you get a totally different horse here on how it runs on the Lasix. It could be a huge improvement. It usually is for a lot of horses. So they're all getting it for the first time. So the only thing I wanted to look for, I'm looking for an edge here, is like who's worked out in January since they've been on the Lasix. And the only one that really jumped off the page was the 2 for me, which was on January 2nd on the turf, 01, 01, and 2, which is a really good workout on the grass for a horse that just broke its maiden on the turf at Gulfstream Park. So I thought the 2 bode well from the medicine, the Lasix side of things. But you're not really going to know any of the rest of these because all these other ones had workouts basically in December. So you don't know how that new medicine in January in 2025, now that it's 3 years old, because that's the way horses are aged, is at the beginning of the year, not on their birthday, to see how it's really going to affect them. So somebody may come out of this race and really improve. So if there's a horse that's 30-1, you probably want to take it behind the 6 because anybody can come in second in this race when you're playing your exotic. So just something to keep in mind. We see it a lot of times, a 1-5 favorite with a 25 or 30-1 shot second that pays like $15.
Yeah,
which is a lot better than what you're going to do.
Maybe I'll go 6 all with my entire mortgage payment and then see what that pays.
I try to narrow it down if you could, but yeah. We'll see how that goes. Let's move on to the 10th race, 4th leg of the pick 5. Mile on the 16th. Now we're going to switch on back over to dirt. It's a $75,000 non-graded stakes race. The Sunshine Classic Stakes, purse of $75,000. State breds for 4-year-olds and upward. So interesting race, as they all are. I know I say that every time we're about to get into it, but I'm going to go with the 6 as my top pick. I'm going back to Zayas and Safi. One Sharp Cookie. Last time out, I can scratch that race. It was on the turf surface. I think they gave it a shot. The odds reflected that it wasn't going to do well at Belmont that day. This is a horse that's kind of shipped around in the last handful of months, going to Parks. Disappointing in the grade 2 Gallant Bob, and then disappointing for the non-graded stakes race at Belmont, and now it's back. I think if you really want to know what this horse is about, you got to go back to like September and in the summer, June, July, and September to see what this horse is really about. Science has ridden this horse a bunch of times, and they just kind of went on this little tour with this horse. Safi wanted to tour him around and see what else he could do, but against state breds, there's no better jockey trainer combination against horses running against for state breds in my mind. When these two team up, they're always hard to beat. And a horse like this that has run 3 state bred only races in a row, first, third, and first. This is going back to when it broke its maiden. And then they just did some wild shit going to optional claimings and going to Parks. And I just don't like where that path. They're home. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. The times make a lot of sense. Off track or not. I know they've had some moisture down there, but it should be fine for the weather today. I still like the 6 on top. I think just makes all the sense to me as far as like pointing in the direction of how the race is going to run. Front end for the place positioning. Let me team that up with the 4. I do like Secret Chat, Javier Castellano, Victor Barbosa. Another one that should be forwardly placed, does well against state breds for Florida. The 5 awesome trained Tyler Gaffleone and Antonio Sano. This is probably your speed of the race. Likes going the route distance, likes being very much near the front, and has some really good pace figures. Had a really bang up race last time out and drawing away into state bred optional, claiming 20,000 last time out. So definitely another contender that I definitely don't want to leave off. And I'll go all the way to the outside. Ray Lou Gutierrez and Big Martini on the 12 as a possible 87 speed figure in his lone state bred race last time out at Tampa, albeit. But again, Florida State breds only winning that race by 2 lengths. And a good workout coming in 47-1 as well. So some horses I like underneath. This was one I wouldn't really be committed to putting who I like on top with the 6. I think if you have any combination of the 4, 5, 6, 7 here, you're good. But for the podcast, I'll put the 6 as my top pick.
Yeah, I'm in semi-alignment. I like the 4 as my top pick. I think Javier is going to have a great day today. I like a horse that's coming off of 2 straight and, jumping up in both speed figure as well as class. I think this is a logical move here. Victor Balboza and Javier are batting 100, in their one time that they've teamed up in the 2 months. So I like what I'm seeing there. I think there's a lot of things to look at, but I think Javier, like I said, is going to have a great day today. He's somebody I'd put on my parlay of jockeys, if there was any type of betting. He's got at least 2, 2.5. I even take the hook,
Over 2.5.
Yeah, I think, he's just got a good opportunity here. The horses, like I said, back-to-back wins. Javier rode last time out and gave him a great ride. And again, very consistent. They do the same thing and they end up winning the race. So again, I think that there's something to be said there. And, I think this horse has got something special there. So I'll land on the 4. I had the 6, like you said, underneath. I think there's something to be said where Safi's got horses in a race and, takes a look at, Zayas in there as well as multiple options. Obviously he wants his boy, the OG of the connections aboard. And I think that's why Zayas has got the mount. If he runs 101 speed figure, I think he's going to win the race. If they go to the front, they set the speed. I think they're going to win. I think this horse is really, really capable. Obviously the last 2 races weren't great. But if you go back 3 races into that open company race, that's kind of what you're looking for, right? You want him to go to the lead. You want him to do that. If you break like shit and you sit mid-pack, you're not going to win the race. You can rip up your ticket right away. But if they get out clean, I think they've got a really good opportunity there. So that's why I like the 6 and everything you said. And then the 7, Shaq Diesel. Joel Rosario, again, I'm starting off 2025 with a men's, as a clean slate. I want him to do well. I want him to win me money like he has previously, and get back into those ways. And I think he's due for a resurgence very soon. David Fox also has, great stats, when he has a horse layoff and especially when it's a longer layoff, so he's got some really good statistics coming off of those long layoffs. Again, a horse that's consistently in the 90s or upper 80 speed figure, I think is going to be very good. Obviously, he's ridden in very good class, and they've been right there every single time. So if this horse doesn't win, again, I love it hitting the board. I'm going to take a swing there with the 7 as well. So I got 4 with the 6, 7 in this leg.
Yeah, 7 made a lot of sense. That was my first peel back. If I was going to shift anything, would be the 12 for the 7 on my ticket. 7 was a tough one to throw off and not putting Shaq Diesel. It's just maybe C1, but the workouts have been really good. I mean, you can't take away that 47-4 at the end of last year in December. Yeah. The horse is in good shape. They're ready. So Sunshine Stakes maybe is a good opportunity for this horse to come out and show its thing. So maybe I'm adding the 7 back on the ticket. Maybe I'm moving the 12 down to 3rd or 4th in the exotics. We'll see. Now you kind of talked me into it. Let's finish this up. Last leg of the pick 5, race 11. Mile and 16th on the turf, claiming $20,000, purse of $31,000 for 4-year-olds and upwards. Again, the rail's at 38 feet. I really did like the 1, but it got scratched. It was going to be not my top pick, but it was going to be like I thought maybe a long shot for 3rd or something that maybe gets slept on. That's not going to happen. So I'm shifting everything over back to where my top pick is the 3, Nantasket Beach. What's not to like? 87-92 speed figures last 2 times out on the turf. Horse is strictly turf, has been consistent in how it runs. 5 trips over at Gulfstream, a win, a 2nd, and 2/3. Not the best when you're looking at 5 trips over, but the horse is there, forwardly placed every time. I think you're just looking about trips. When Bravo has had an opportunity to ride this horse, he's turned in a win and a just miss, getting beat at the wire just by a length, getting caught as an odds-on favorite. So I think there's a lot to learn here. They're going back with Joe Bravo. I think this is his win of the day. If I had to give him one, this is the best opportunity he's got. I think he's going to go ahead and cash in on it. Drops in class, which really bodes well. So 3 is going to be my top pick. I'll put the 2 on there. Was going back to turf, media sensation for Luis Saez. I just like that they're shifting the surface that I think is preferred for the horse, and the horse does really run well. So I'm going to put the 2 on the ticket. I like the 4 as well. Eliute Johnny, another class dropper here for Tyler Gaffleone and Martin Drexler. Just one that makes a lot of sense from a speed figure. Very, very consistent. 82, 84, 84 in the last 3, which fits really well with this group today. And then I'll go all the way to the outside for my 4th option, which would be the 11, Rough Draft. Yaramio gets an outside post position. He's a very great gateman. And when you're looking at how this horse has been running atypically, just doesn't break. But for some reason, after coming out of the Fernando Abreu barn and then going into the Emmanuel Juralis barn, all of a sudden this horse can break all of a sudden. And last time in the synthetic, didn't get the best start, but did get the lead. Had to really use a lot of horse to get to the front and then wound up second. Yaramio is a natural gate man. I think he's going to have good ability. If the horse is sharp, which I think they are now, they're really getting this horse sharp or getting out the gate. This last workout on December 19th, 3 furlongs and 36 and 4. That's a nice, really workout. Get him really like primed for that burst of energy. This horse goes to the front from the outside, has to make up a little ground. Only thing that holds it back from being one of my tops here. But the 90 speed figure 2 back at Laurel said that this horse does have the ability. No more coming from behind her, sitting 6-7 lengths off of this horse. You got Yaramio, the ambassador of speed, could be a main contender. But I'm going to go 3 on top with the 2, 4, and the 11.
Yeah, I went with the 11 for everything you just said there. I mean, it's hard to go against it. You know, I'm going by stylistically and, you know, just the company that you have there. Yaramio, like you said, the ambassador of speed, gets him out and he goes and he will go as fast as he needs to. And obviously at Laurel, they went a 21 and obviously was able to blow away the field. So I think that this horse, again, like you said, is very much capable of doing that. And in training into this race at 36 and 4 shows exactly that. You know, they're going to go. That's not a question. It's just, can they get the position they need to win the race from the outside post? And that's going to be tough. But I'm very confident that they can. I like the horse. And like I said, going back to back in 2 very good races. You know, obviously the all weather, I think, played a little bit of a factor there after coming off of a race on the turf. But, you know, that be it. I mean, I still like what I'm seeing there out of that horse. So I have the 11 as my top. I think we're good there. And then the 2, I think Saez, you know, getting aboard this horse. Again, I know this horse isn't really doing much on the form. If you're looking at, I mean, it's definitely hitting the board. I think this horse is very second or third for me, you know, underneath play. I don't necessarily see this horse winning the race, if I'm being honest, but I think that this horse is going to be competitive and is able to make up a lot of ground when they need to, you know. So it's really going to see how much Saez wants to put into this horse coming down the stretch if they think they got a chance to win or not. Hopefully they're not too far back at the end, but I like them closing into the speed, you know, and picking up some of the place or show money there. And then the 3, your top pick, I think is also very logical. It makes a ton of sense. You know, Joe Bravo, when he rode this horse, had success, you know, I mean, winning by almost 5 lengths in that race on the turf at Gulfstream Park. I mean, it checks all the boxes. The distance is not going to be an issue. They're right there every single time. The speed figures are great. Really, it really seems like it is a step above some of the competition in this race. But I think it's going to be a little bit of a shorter price. So I'm going to go with a little bit of a beefier one, which is why I went the 11. But yeah, I mean, if the speed gets out early and leads, you know, hopefully they're sitting close enough where they hold on or end up winning the race. So hopefully it's 1-2, you and I, whatever direction it is, to close out the pick 5. So that's where I went 11 with the 2-3. But I like what I'm seeing there out of those ones.
I could agree more. Like I said, when they extend that rail out and it's just a different ball game when the rail's at 0, you got a little more opportunities for like these closers. I just feel that you got this extended rail. It's got to be speed in the 11 and the 3, and the 2 all make sense to be in there. So I think you can narrow down your pick 5s on that last leg by using some forward pace runners that we gave you today. But interesting picks 5, couple possible locks. Could be a very cheap ticket if you really want to single it down. But then the races that it's like wide open, you got to hit the Allberger or peel back what you think doesn't have a shot.
Yep.
So maybe it adds back onto the ticket. We'll see.
Yep.
That is your pick 5 for Gulfstream for today. We do have some football playing today too, right? So we have Baltimore and Pittsburgh, I believe. Yep. And what's the other game today?
I don't know what the other game is. I can't look.
Let me pull it up here. Texas today? The Houston's, the Texans?
Houston, yeah.
Chargers. Houston and the Chargers, right?
Yeah.
Any prop bets for you like today? or the
Um,
weekend for that matter.
for the weekend, call me crazy. I've been thinking about these Packers playing Philly, and
Yeah.
you know, I think there's some juice there if Philly comes out
Mhm.
slow. Uh, but that's just my long shot play. I think if I'm getting crazy. I've been thinking about it
Yeah.
all week, and I'm like they're probably going to win. Every year I talk about this team, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want them to win. I don't want them to have success. They shouldn't win the first round of the playoffs and make it 2 rounds.
Right.
So yeah, maybe I might sprinkle on that one. I like the Broncos a lot. I think the Broncos have an exciting offense. I think the best game of the weekend that we're going to see is going to be the Commanders and Bucks. I think that's going to be a shootout. So
Yeah.
might take
I
some
do
overs
too.
there. Yeah, I don't know. A little early. We'll have to make our decisions here in the next hour or so when we're there. Putting out some
Put in our bets.
some
Yeah.
parlays. Yeah, but been red hot.
I like.
Been red hot over the last couple
Yeah,
weeks.
you've been smoking them
Yeah,
on the football parlay. So hopefully we keep that trend going this
yeah,
week. I like likely with a touchdown for Baltimore today, and I think you can go McConkey 6-7 receptions today easily.
yeah.
I think both of
It'd be
those are
crazy.
solid picks. Crazy not to. He's the
Yeah,
main guy that they're going to throw to.
it's crazy when the
Maybe
line for receptions is 5.5 is like the lowest
I
you're gonna
know.
get. So it's like
Yeah,
he's gonna get his looks.
Johnston too. I think if you go to the wide receivers for San Diego, the Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers. I think both of those are Quentin Johnson and McConkey on receptions. I think you're pretty solid there. Like I said, like likely for the touchdown, even like Bateman over 4 catches for Baltimore.
I think I like
I
Bateman's
could agree with you
yardage
more.
more. I think Bateman's
You what?
yardage. I like Bateman's yardage more than the catches because you think they're
With
gonna run
Flowers
heavy
out,
with.
I think yeah, I think they're going to be heavy with the running back, obviously with Henry. That'd
Like
be
I like
interesting.
Bateman over his yardage, and then maybe Mark Andrews on his catches because he's gonna get a shit ton. I think.
Mm, yeah, yeah, tight ends might be pick up a little bit of a role with Flowers out
Yeah,
as well. So that's why I like likely getting a touchdown because Andrews I think has a touchdown in the last 5 games on the connection. So yeah, this weekend it'd be crazy to have Denver upset a team that everyone's just predicting to be in the Super Bowl. I don't think they'll beat them, but I think it's going to be more competitive than what they're thinking.
agreed.
I think Knicks over 220 is also pretty solid bet that I'm going to be leveraging here for the weekend. Jacobs for Green Bay probably going to have 1,000 yards in one game because they have nothing else going on, and it probably
True.
should keep the score low in the game competitive as well. But that's really it. And maybe Puka Nacua for 50 catches on Monday. Other than that, happy birthday, kid. So make
Thank
sure I
you.
say happy birthday. If you're listening or you're watching, go on to X, wish the kid a happy birthday. 30 great years. 30 years old, man.
Yep.
It's been a joy to watch you the last 30 years, and
Thanks.
really proud of you. So hope you have a fantastic birthday today.
I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be with you the whole day, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we'll see in a couple hours how our day is gonna go.
Yeah, we'll see how we start out, right? All right, wish us luck. Other than that, for myself, Joey Cino and the kid. Until next week, good luck to everybody on their picks today at Gulfstream Park and all your prop bets, and we'll see you next week.